Well, welcome. Tonight we have one of our favorite people coming on, somebody who takes care of all of our favorite people. I'm talking about the Milford Senior Center, one of the absolute gems of Milford. Sue and her staff are just wonderful at taking care of our families and basically the people who built Milford, the people who gave us our chance to be here and take advantage of the town as it is. But let's start with an introduction. And you can use your real name, because I know I always screw it up.
Well, I'm Sue Clark. I'm the director of the Senior Center.
And for everybody who's watched before, it's only taken me 60 years to try and remember it's Clark, not Trotter.
Not Trotter. Well, it'll always be Trotter. But I am a Clark now, so I should probably go by that.
Yeah, but you're from Milford, so names don't change.
So Trotter is going to be there for a while.
If somebody says, what is the Milford Senior Center?
Senior Center is a great place to be. It's a social center. It's a service center. It's people's lifelines. We have so many things going on. You know, I think a lot of people think Senior Center, they think it's for old people. They don't want to go there yet. You know, I get all that, but I think if anybody's wondering what we are, you should come down and find out. Our demographic is widespread. We have seniors from 60 to 90 hanging out with us. Our fitness program is a really big draw for some of the younger seniors, but the older seniors are having just as much fun up there. It is one of our biggest draws. I think it was a really good investment that the town had made. We benefited from some grant money to provide personal trainers, so we really have a very comprehensive wellness program going on there. I can't say enough about that, but in addition to that, we offer a lot of services that I think people should really know about, because you know, they get a piece of mail, they don't know what to do with it, they're struggling with taking care of themselves or taking care of their parents, or whatever the issue is. We can usually figure out how to address it or turn them in the right direction to have that issue resolved. We don't like anybody to go away without being served. So that's one thing that we really take pride in. We talked about transportation. We were able to provide transportation to the seniors, to get them to their medical appointments, to get them to the supermarket, to get them to the senior center. It's a really important aspect of what we do. Our van is at capacity all the time, but we do our best to make sure we can provide those rides to whoever needs them. Our activities are through the roof. I mean, if anybody knows how to throw a party, it's the Senior Center, and we have the numbers to prove it, because whenever we have a breakfast or a luncheon or anything, we're at capacity. For Thanksgiving, we had 170 people in our room eating a full course turkey dinner, and it was just a great time. But it's like, there's not one thing that goes on there that we don't do to capacity. We're always full. We hate turning anybody down. If anybody knows me, I never say no when they come in and say, is there a ticket? Yeah, we can fit them in somewhere. We take trips. We have a lot of educational things going on. We do presentations. So we really do a lot of things.
You know, it's funny because I remember back when the Geriatric Authority said they wanted to change their name, because Medicare barely paid their bills, and where they made their money is people getting in rehab. But nobody wanted to go to the Geriatric Authority.
Right.
So they changed the sign, and now it's Countryside.
Yeah.
You know, and I think of the Senior Center. Yeah, I went through the shock of getting AARP in the mail and saying, I'm actually at 62. Yeah. I'm eligible.
Yeah. You were eligible at 60.
Well, that's it. I never wanted to admit it. I mean, I want to be young, thin, and have hair.
Yeah.
Sorry, ain't going to work.
You got the hair.
Yeah, I need the hair badly. You know, the young and the thin, that ain't going to happen. But when you think about it, that center, no, it's not for 20-year-old kids.
No.
You know, it's not for 30-year-old, I'll still call them kids. But when you start thinking of people in their 50s, 60s, especially as we're starting to retire earlier, if people can get over the phobia of saying, I'm not old.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry, my daughter thinks she's old, she's 30. And she's already talking about how old she is. You know, so when you start thinking about retiring, especially if you don't have, you know, a lot of us are blessed that we have family close. But a lot of us don't. Today's mobile society, you've got kids all over the country, so you don't get to spend every day with them. I love the idea of having a place to just go. You know, once I retire, and at the rate my daughter to spend money, that'll probably be when I'm 90 if I'm still around. But, you know, once I retire, being able to just go and talk to people my own age, be it 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever it is.
It's a great place. It's a good place just to hang out, you know, hang around and socialize and have a cup of coffee.
When I was younger, the soccer field was the great melting pot, because you got to stand on the sidelines and talk to all the parents and find out, hey, this happened to my house. And one of them, oh, that happened to me too. Well, how did you deal with it? So I can see a lot of the benefit is a senior just going down saying, I just got the Medicare form 3809 debt. What do I do?
Right. And you know, we speaking of that, we have the regional Shine office located at the center, which has been a tremendous help to us, because any questions with Medicare, Medicaid, insurance, the Shine folks, they have all the answers, and they just make recommendations, or they just give you the information so you can make an informed decision on which way you should go when it comes to insurance. And they've been straight out with their open enrollment right now. So we're so lucky to have that in our facility.
And we got the regional one.
We have the regional one, which is great. I mean, we're just very lucky.
Think about it, so many times, and now that I'm getting past that age of being called young, I get all these wonderful offers for Medicare Part 58-3 and sign up with us because we'll give you free meds.
They're all scams.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is give me your life savings, and then I'll give you a
security number.
And I'll give you a bottle of aspirin.
No,
but you know, to go to a place and talk to somebody from Shine, who's not trying to sell me anything.
No, not at all. Just giving you information.
Who's just walking me through all the options.
Right.
And then being able to say, by the way, there are many people in the main hall playing bingo or whatever they're doing that have run into the same issues you have.
That's right.
You know, so it's, part of me has this old European, old Portuguese thing that I'm a man. I don't have to ask questions. I should know. And I'm embarrassed. Well, wait a minute. Get over it.
Everybody has questions.
But that's the point.
If anybody can understand that, then they're brilliant.
But that's my whole point. It's so non-threatening to be able to go in and, you know, look at an old guy my age, Bobby DeVita, and say, Bobby, have you run into this before? Right? He'll hate me for calling him old.
He will. That's why I'm chuckling. He's not going to like that.
He's not going to like that. But, you know, to be able to just sit and say, wait a minute, you knew a little bit about telephone. Well, yeah, he spent his whole life.
He did.
So getting
a little bit about everything.
Well,
you know,
no,
Bob.
Just ask Bob, he'll tell you. But, you know, realistically, getting advice from somebody who spent their life being an accountant, being a lawyer, being this or that, how much is that worth?
I don't know. All I know is if you have questions and you come to the senior center, chances are somebody there has the answer, which is really, it's great, especially if you're a senior and you don't know where to turn. Just turn to us and we can help you. And that's, I mean, it's just, I don't think I ever realized how important the senior center was until I got there and I saw what's going on down here. I mean, we really are, we are the lifeline to a lot of people. We can answer a lot of questions. We can help them with a lot of services. Right now we're going through fuel assistance, helping people file applications for SMOC. It's just...
What's a SMOG?
SMOC.
SMOC.
Well, SMOC is for fuel assistance.
I was going to say, SMOG was a dragon on Tolkien.
Middlesex something, I don't.
Okay, but it's fuel assistance.
It's fuel assistance, yeah. And you know, chances are if you're looking for fuel assistance, you probably qualify for it. And if you do, they fill out the applications with you.
But I mean, in general, somebody says, I wonder if I qualify. Is it somebody living on Social Security or?
Yeah, usually.
Because, you know, that's the part, probably the scariest part for me, is how do we balance what we want Milford to grow into with what people like our seniors can afford? Because I've seen too many towns go crazy on spending, and all of a sudden the taxes chase the people who built the town away. And that to me is the worst crime in the world.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't really know. I see all different lifestyles coming in our building. It's not just people that are, you know, that are eligible for assistance. We have people from all.
But it's not just financially
No,
strapped
not at
people.
all. Right, right. I mean, we have so many different people coming in
It
our
could be
doors.
just people who financially are doing extremely well.
Right.
But their kids are gone. You know, I mean, I'm living now in a house, now that my mom passed, it's just my darling bride, my dog, and me.
Right. A big old house.
You know, now I'm absolutely blessed that, I mean, I only get to see my grandson 4 days a week, or maybe 5, but I'd like it to be more.
Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah, I mean, my daughter's a mile and a half
Yeah,
away,
mine
so I get
too.
to cheat.
I
My
get all that
little
as
one
well.
comes home every other weekend from the big city, Boston. But I know a lot of people who their kids, God bless them, have done well,
Right.
but live out in the square states or, you know, West Coast, and they only get to see them every few months.
Right.
So I could see somebody just wanting to go down and play cards with a friend.
Whatever. I mean, like I said, Al, there's so much going on. And it's not just a fun place to be, because I think in the past we've always emphasized how much fun it is down there. You know, like you said, bingo is bingo, and that's twice a week. And you know,
Oh, they still play bingo?
If that's your thing, then you come down, because we have a really active bingo crowd. But more than that, you know, we have knitting and sewing and book clubs, and like I said before, educational things, cards, pool. The fitness program is phenomenal. There's something there for everyone.
Now, I'll put you on the spot, because a few years ago you came and asked for whatever it was, 80, 90 grand?
75.
75. Okay. $75,000 for a fitness program for old people.
Right.
And people were saying, will anybody
Unbelievable.
participate? So let me ask you, we spent 75 grand.
Unbelievable. That's all. I had no idea it was going to
So
be.
you're getting 3-4
this.
people a day?
Are you kidding? We have 19 fitness classes a week. That's a lot
Wait a
of
minute,
classes.
say that one again.
19 fitness classes. We have Zumba. We have new things now. We have Zumba, Pound, bar fitness, tap dancing, line dancing, all the stretch and strength classes, yoga. I mean, they just go on and on.
How many people do you get to?
There's like 20 people in every class.
I was going to say, I tried yoga, and my old body looked at me and said, you didn't bend this way when you were young.
It's crazy. And so we have all those classes going on, but then in the room next to it, we have a full gym. So we were really lucky. We applied for grants. We got a lot of grant money to buy all this fitness equipment, applied for more grants, got money to pay trainers. So we have a certified trainer in our gym every morning from 8 to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And they will develop an individual fitness plan for whoever walks in the door,
Now,
all free.
Most important, when you think of these trainers, you know, I think of some guy who weighs 80 pounds and, you know, abs, and he wants to jump up and down for 3 hours, and I'm looking at him saying, I would get tired from looking at you.
Not at all.
This is not a threatening workout.
No. One of my trainers is in a wheelchair.
Ah.
One of my the other one is a retired gentleman, certified. I mean, it's not intimidating, and I think that's the key to it, because you don't have to have a $100 pair of shoes on. You can wear whatever shoes you have.
You don't have to wear the clothes
as long as they're not open-toed. You can wear whatever you want. You don't have to go to the fitness stores and buy all the fancy clothes. You can come in no matter what you want. There's no peer pressure. You start off slow and you build up. And the dialogue in that room is phenomenal.
Well, I mean, so
Everybody's
think about
having fun.
If I go in there, now my rotund shape is not something that I want to worry about. I don't want some young skinny guy or
Right.
gal looking at me saying,
With all
"Ooh."
the big muscles.
You know, I'm sorry. Yeah,
No.
maybe 100 years ago I might have looked like that. I didn't, but I could have. Today, I'm a rotund old man who wants to be in shape. I'd like to be around people my age who
Yeah.
are not going to laugh at me.
That's
or
it.
I'm not going to go out and buy, you know, the designer clothes.
Exactly. And that, I think that's the key to our success, because everybody's on the same playing field and everybody's just having a really good time. You go in the gym and there's more conversation going on and everybody's cracking jokes, but it's supervised, which is nice, because you have someone in there that is educated and they're watching what you're doing. If you're not doing it right, they're going to correct you. They're watching you progress. So, you know, you might be on the treadmill for 5 minutes. And then in 2 weeks, they say, you know what? You're going to go on for 7 minutes this week. And plus, we're...
But if they see you pushing,
if they see
they
you
can
pushing,
also
they'll-
say, you know,
what? You better go check with...
let's take a step back
Exactly.
because that much weight or that many reps or that much
Too much.
time may be a little much. You know, the fact that you're red in the face and almost falling off the treadmill is probably a hint.
And I think the other key is we have a nurse 2 days a week.
Ah.
The Board of Health was very generous, and they allowed us to have a nurse 2 mornings, Wednesday and Thursday mornings, from 9 to 12, and she does blood pressure checks and med checks. But we have this whole plan in place, so when you come into the fitness facility, they're going to send you down to see the nurse. So we have all your baseline information. So if they see that there's a problem going on, they may say, you know what? Next Wednesday, I want you to check in with the nurse, have her do your blood pressure, see what's going on, make sure everything's okay. So we get to watch their progress as well.
How wonderful. So you're really doing some screening.
Absolutely.
So you got a
Absolutely.
trained medical professional saying, hey, Sue,
Yep.
maybe you should go talk to your physician about.
Exactly.
That's wonderful.
Yep. And we do require doctors' notes for anybody that we think is questionable, you know, that they may have had a heart condition or something. You know, it's funny, we're getting a lot of people that are coming off of physical therapy. And it seems like they're being sent to us from physical therapy because, you know, their sessions may have ended, the insurance may have ended. So now they're saying, go to the senior center and, you know, this is what we want you to continue doing. So we're getting a lot of physical therapy people coming in to use our facility.
Well, I mean, I could see it because, you know, God bless my mom. She was living on, you know, her Social Security. And, you know, that was $1,800 a month and $600 a pension. But there was never enough money.
No.
She couldn't have, I don't know how they can survive if she was on her own, you know, with a house or mortgage or taxes. You know, so the idea of going to a physician and paying the $25 or $40 copay every week,
Yeah.
I mean, if she was on her own, that just wouldn't have been possible. You know, now we were lucky, you know, we were able to pay for everything that she couldn't afford because she lived with us.
Right.
But, you know, I worry about, again, the people who built our town. If they got to decide between dinner and going, maybe this week I don't have to see the doctor. You know?
You know, the nurse has really been a big asset to us because I think a lot of people, especially this demographic, they're afraid to go to the doctors. They know there's something quite not right, but they don't want to go to the doctors because if they go to the doctors, they're going to go to the hospital and then they're going to end up in the nursing home. They have this whole plan played out in their mind.
And once I get in there, I'll never get out.
Exactly. So, you know, they seem to have developed a rapport with Janet, our nurse, where they can just come in and talk with her. 9 times out of 10, she's going to say, you know what, you need to call the doctor. But I think they're more assured that she's telling them that.
Yeah.
Rather than just picking up that.
And she's not threatening.
Or, you know, she might say, you know what, this is a new medication you're on. Give it a little time. Or you know, your blood pressure's good, or whatever it is. It's a good thing.
No, but again, I can see where I don't want to sign up for a doctor's visit
Right.
because that could cost me a lot of money.
There's a copay with that.
And I'm going to
usually.
walk in, and you know, you sit there and say $25 or $40. What's that? Well, I'm glad that a lot of Milfordians don't care.
Right.
But I worry about the people living on $1,500. If I have to go to the doctor 3 or 4 times just to check,
Yeah.
there's 10% of my income gone.
Yeah, we're lucky. We're very lucky. And that was through the generosity of the Board of Health. So I need to give them a thank you for that, because we didn't have a nurse before. And, you know, all it took was the phone calls to say we could really use this, and they were right there for us.
Well, I mean, God bless them. They're all so young. I always laugh and call Lenny the junior member who's
Yeah.
only been on 40 years.
Right.
But, you know, you think about it, it all stems back to town meeting, because when they submit their budget,
Right.
you know, we go over it. It's up to town meeting to say, are we going to fund those nurses or not?
Right.
But again, I love town meeting. It's 250 odd people who really care about Milford. They're willing to come out, and a lot of them are Milford. So, you know, it's like Countryside, the senior center, that's our parents. Or as we used to kid around with some of the people on the FinCom saying, we're going to be there someday. Let's make sure it's what we want
Yep.
when we get there.
Yep.
I know that's self-centered, but by making sure we're proud of what we're building, why? We can take care of the people today on the way. So, you know, having a nurse just, hey, I'm getting some pains in my leg.
Exactly. That's it. It's just somebody to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, even I've gone in there and say, Janet, what's this? And, you know, it's very comforting knowing. I got to tell you, Milford's really lucky to have the facilities that we have, and especially the center, because I've been in other senior centers, and they don't compare as far as the facility goes. And I think because we have a top-notch facility, we're able to bring all these services and activities into it. Some people in other towns, they're running out of an old school, or the basement of town hall, or whatever. They don't have a fitness facility. I mean, that's unheard of.
But you know, I don't want to be cold, but we're just paying off an old debt.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? I hate to be cold about it, but
no.
I'm not voting for anything special except, okay, 20, 30 years ago, their blood and sweat built our schools, paid for our police station, everything.
Right.
So I've got all the benefits of being in a town that I think is top notch.
Yes.
You know, and it's always simple because people come and say, Milford's not perfect. You're right.
Right.
Pick one town around us you'd rather be in, and if you do, why aren't you there? Why don't you just get up and move to some other town?
Right.
And then find out that the average taxes aren't going to be $5,000. You know, and when you want to go to a senior center, you're in the basement of some hall.
Right, exactly.
You
Now
know?
you remember, you've been in the town a long time, you remember the one-room senior center that we had, and then we built this one, and I'm sure you still remember when they were designing the parking lot, and it was for 70 cars, and how much flack did we get?
Do we have 70 seniors
Really?
in town?
You're
Do all
never
of
going to
them-
be able to fill up that park. Well, let me tell you something. We fill that parking lot every single day, and we could fill another one, because we have over that number of people coming in every single day for one thing or another.
But see, that to me is wonderful.
It's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
When you think about how much money we spend per year on the senior center, you can say, wow, that's a lot of money. But you know something? Compared to what we
We
deliver,
don't spend that much.
it all
Let's
depends
not
on
get
what,
into
it all
that.
depends on what side of the budget you're on. But realistically, you know, we had a group of Milford kids who needed help. We put $5 million into a youth center. Okay. We had a bunch of kids who needed a football field, $4 million into that. So when you start putting it in perspective, you know, these aren't even just a
No.
group of kids. These are our mothers and fathers.
The senior center was a very wise investment. It certainly was. And there's never a dull moment. So it's not like it's getting dusty down there, because
Now, they're people, and I'll equate it to the old Portuguese grandmas, the old Portuguese grandfathers who are home.
Mm.
I mean, my mother never drove a day, 94 years, 70-some years in Milford, never drove a car.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when somebody like that needs to get to the senior center?
We'll go pick them up.
Oh, they don't have to sit there and thumb
Nope.
the...
Nope, we have a senior van, we can pick them up. If they're fortunate enough to live in one of our elderly complexes, the MWRTA bus could take them there. But we do have a senior van, and all you need to do is call up and try to get on it, because like I said, we're at capacity. I was having a conversation with my transportation coordinator today, and she says, we really need to do something about people that are in rehab, because they're going to like dialysis appointments, or they need to go several times a week for an extended period of time. She says, I could use one van with all these people that I have now, just bringing them back and forth to their appointments. I said, well, we're going to have to figure out how to, you can't just shut them off. So if they have to go to rehab, or if they have to go to these extended treatments, and we have to be able to accommodate them. So it's really, at this point, our van is almost strictly medical. We do
Prioritize.
Yeah, we have to, because that's the important
Now,
piece.
the idea of adding a second van is as crazy as adding a SWAT team. We could never afford that,
Well,
but yet,
yeah,
you think about it,
Yeah.
when the police chief came and said the regional SWAT response, which is good, is average 38 minutes.
yeah,
These school issues average are over an 18. So if something happens in the Milford schools and we sound the alarm,
yeah,
the SWAT team will be here
Yep.
20 minutes after it's over.
yeah,
And everybody said, well, it's going to cost us $500,000 to $600,000 a year. And we looked and said, my God, that's crazy money. But
how could you say no?
that was the point. If
How could you
something
say
ever
no?
happened,
Right,
and instead of having 3 Milford officers,
Right.
We had 6 untrained guys showing up 20 minutes after it's over,
right.
I don't know that I could live with myself.
No, you couldn't.
So we
You couldn't
voted
say
for
no. You couldn't say no.
it. So, I guess the same question, hey, Uncle Rick, why aren't you pushing for a new van?
Yeah,
If you're at a point where you can come in and say, look, I have, 20 spots a day or 30 spots a day, and 29 of them are already full,
yeah,
and they're all full on medical. So that means my mother, if she wanted to go there, I can't prioritize her going to play bingo
no, you can't.
over somebody who needs to
That's
go to a
exactly
doctor.
it.
But on the other hand, if she was alone,
Yeah,
we ended up selling our house and moving back to Milford, because when my dad passed away, I was lucky because I'm married to a saint. Sharon came home, my darling bride came home and said, you got to move your mother in with us. Because if you leave her alone in Milford, she'll wither within the year.
yeah, it's true.
We brought her down to Washington, and all of a sudden she had my daughter to focus on, so, everything was good, but it wasn't the same. All of her girlfriends, the old Portuguese
Yeah.
grandmas, were all up here.
Yeah,
So we moved back, and it was funny because so many of them would come and pick her up during the day. When she was home, God forbid, they better not come before 8:30 or try and drop her off after 2:30, because that's when the buses picked up my daughters.
oh yeah, she had to be around
Oh.
for that. That's her job.
If she
That was
wasn't
her
there to
job.
meet the kids.
Yeah,
But you sat there and said,
isn't that wonderful?
we were lucky.
Isn't that wonderful?
Because, the Italian, the Portuguese, they're all the same.
Yep.
We all claim they're different, but it's all old European and now all old Hispanic. They come together and take care. But there's a lot of people who just don't have family or that close friends to pick them up.
Right.
I'd hate to think, for whatever ungodly amount you'd ask for, that we're going to leave somebody's grandmother home that day.
Right.
Because bingo may not be medically needed, but for her own psyche.
Right. We try our best, though. If we know that if somebody wants to come in.
Not even a question.
Yeah,
But if you got 30 slots and 29 are medical,
yeah,
then you sit there and say, okay, how many grandmothers don't want to inconvenience you. Grandfathers don't want to bother you because they know all their friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't imagine that you couldn't get support with the data.
Right. Well, we got the data. We're collecting it now. Now that, you know, we're focusing on our unmet needs rather than our numbers, because we really need to see, you know, are we missing the mark here? You know, how could we be doing better? But, you know, money's always an issue, and you know it, you're on the finance committee, and it's a scary thing to go in and say, I need this because...
Look, you came before the board, you weren't on the financial plan for the
Boy, did
exercise.
I hear about that.
Well, you should have. You didn't tell us. But at the end of the day, you made a compelling argument.
Yep. And look,
And we bet on the fact that, you know, there were people who said, okay, aerobics for seniors, there's going to be 2 people a week.
no, unbelievable.
And now you got 20 classes a week
It's
full.
unbelievable.
You know, so now you come back and you say, hey guys, we're doing well.
Right.
Because the critical things is we're getting people their medical appointments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you got the bus.
Yep.
So the bus is nice if you live on the bus route.
Exactly.
But people like my mom
Right.
who had to walk 2.5 miles or 3 miles to get to
No,
the bus loop, that's not going to
no,
happen.
it's not going to happen. It doesn't make any sense for that. But I think, you know, the MWRTA bus is providing a really good service to the people that need it. So, you know, that's really good.
And I think the question on the MWRTA LMNOP bus
Yeah.
has not been should we have public transportation, but what kind is best?
Yeah.
You know, because I asked the question when it first came up, are we better off having a Milford Uber, you know, putting 2 more vans at the senior center,
Yeah.
or the bus? We said, well, let's try the bus for a couple years. If it works, then it's more efficient. Well, it may be that we need to expand the vans and keep the bus.
I think you would have to keep the bus. You would.
No, I mean,
You could always expand the vans. I mean, I think we could fill the vans.
oh, and that's the key.
I mean,
people like Jen
No
Walsh
matter what you have, we're going to fill it up.
and, you know, my Lexi made a compelling argument that a lot of their special needs
That's right.
kids
Yep.
are getting independence because now they have a way of getting around to a job,
Yeah.
you know. And again, these kids, to me, these adults, they're no more special, but no less special
Right.
than all the other people in Milford we try and take care of,
Yeah.
you know.
Excuse me. I think we added a stop to the library, and I think now it's like one of our biggest stops.
Really?
Yeah. It's just, a lot of people are going to the library.
So now, we understand Shine. Shine is basically, come ye forth with the questions. You know.
Sharing health information.
Yeah, Ed, when he came on the show, he tried to
Needs
explain.
for
Said,
everyone.
basically, if you're a senior and you have a question,
Yeah.
come ask.
Right. Medicare, Medicaid, all that stuff.
All of that,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how minor or catastrophic it is to you. Even if it's a minor question,
Yeah.
come and ask.
Right.
Because then you might find out that, number one, you're not the only one in town with that problem. Because we all like to think we're unique.
Yeah.
But get over it, go down, ask a question. Shine gives you, like I say, at least the options I can trust.
Yes.
Because I know he's not trying
They
to sell
give
me
you facts.
something.
No, they're not. Not at all.
You know,
They
when
just give you all the information, and then
when I-
you make your informed decision, which
when I
is...
get the phone call saying, if you sign up for my plan, world peace will come.
I know.
It's like, yeah, right.
Right.
And you know, and how many seniors fall for these gimmicks because they're lonely?
Well, they're compelling, too. I mean, I get all the mail. My husband just turned 65, and I can't believe how many different health plans have been sent to us, and they all look really official, and, you know, you have to call us, and you have to do this, and you don't have to do any of that.
Right.
We did what we needed to do, and this is just people trying to sell us things that if you don't know that, you're going to fall prey to all of them.
And the worst thing is then you make the people who have the least amount of money are the ones that get preyed upon
Yes.
the heaviest.
Because they're scared.
Well, if you're making 10 grand a month and you make a mistake for 200-300, it's annoying.
Right,
If you're making 1,500 a month,
right.
all of a sudden dinner, becomes, you know, ramen noodles or something.
It's very
So,
true.
Having
true.
a resource, being able to go before something that I think is minor, because I'm a man, I can see through it. Having the nurse say, hey, you better go check that.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that worth? Now, health, financial, you're talking about 170 people ate turkey?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Oh, it was incredible. 20 turkeys, 100-pound of potatoes, 60 pounds of carrots. It just goes on. It was a really nice, and we had Trooper Dan Clark entertain, so that was really good too. The seniors love him. So very fortunate to have a volunteer chef, Brenda Needleman, and she came in and she helped prepare the whole meal. She's awesome.
How many turkeys?
20, donated by Republic Waste.
God bless them.
Yes, they donate the turkeys every year, and they also give us a cash donation for St. Patrick's Day when we do our corned beef and cabbage. See, that's the other thing, Al. We have a lot of support from a lot of different agencies. Milford Regional, they partner with us all the time. They're a great partner.
Well, they ought to be, because Uncle Phil's getting close to,
Well,
he's getting close to eligibility
He's
here, and I'm being
eligible.
nice. I'm being nice saying close.
he's eligible.
I won't say Gail
We're
is,
all eligible. Let's remember that. But we're lucky because all these different agencies and all these corporations and organizations, they support us. So.
But again, they're supporting their own, you know, if you think of the physicians group at Milford Regional. I mean, Phil has always said he's trying to recruit people with ties to Milford because they tend to stay. And those that stay want to contribute.
Right.
You know, their melange just raised, I was there, I was amazed, $1 million in one night. You know, I was like, holy moly, Batman. If you talked to me when I was a kid, you could have bought Milford for $1 million bucks. They would have given you Hopedale and Mendon on the side.
Yeah.
And now here we are, a group of people who live, work, and support Milford, put up $1 million bucks.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
It is amazing. But that's the town we live in.
That's what makes Milford special.
Yeah, I think so.
And 170 people who probably would have been home alone.
Well, it wasn't on Thanksgiving Day. It was the Thursday before.
Same.
But they got their meal. They got their turkey. It was quite an event.
You know, for people, we were lucky. You know, my darling bride bought a Boeing. She bought a 727 that she somehow fit in the oven. I think the thing was 25 or 28 pounds. I was looking for the seats inside, so we all. Large bird.
Yeah.
I remember the first time we were in Paris. Sharon was homesick. Went to the butcher, and she was saying something to him how she wanted a 10 to 11 kilo turkey. He brought his brother out. They're both laughing, and they were using a word we had never heard. When we looked it up, it said ostrich.
Oh, no.
They kept trying to convince us they don't make turkeys that big.
Oh.
You're asking for an ostrich.
No.
But, you know, she's like, no,
No.
this is what we have. I mean, you think about Milford, Italian, Portuguese.
We had 20-pound turkeys in the center, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But truly amazing that 170 people.
What was truly amazing is we got all that food cooked in 2 ovens. That was the amazing part. Yeah.
I didn't know we had a kitchen big enough to process that much food.
Well, neither did we, but we managed to do it.
So now, on these big events, used to be we got the Milford Elder.
Yeah.
There was a newspaper that said, here's what's going on.
Right. The Elder Milfordian.
Elder Milfordian,
Yeah, we
okay.
had to switch that up. And I got a lot of flack for that, so I'll own that.
But how
I just
do
didn't
people
feel appropriate that, you know, because I'm a senior and I don't feel like an Elder Milfordian. So we switched the name. So now it's What's Next at 60 North Bow Street.
That's cool, but I mean,
Perfect.
the information's still
All
there.
the information is there.
So if I'm a not old, but a senior,
Yep. You get
I
the
can
newsletter.
register, get the newsletter.
Yep.
I mean, my mother used to get a kick out of somebody from the senior center used to send her a
The
little birthday card.
cards, yep.
Now, again, what's a birthday card?
Well,
But to her,
if you're all alone, it's a lot.
but even when she wasn't, she'd get 10 or 15,
Right.
you know, here and there in a day. And she got the one from the town. And it made her feel loved that after 70 years in the town, 80, almost 80 years in Milford, that she said, the town still remembers me.
They do.
I get a birthday card.
Yeah. They get
How
a phone
cool was
call.
that?
We call them on their birthday, and I think it's after 80, we send out a birthday card that has been prepared by a fourth grader.
It was a kid.
Right.
A kid prepared it.
Because we're working on these intergenerational programs as well. So our birthday card program is, we get the help from the children, and we give them a name, just a list of names. So you might get a birthday card that would say, "Happy birthday, Mr. Al." We don't give them all the last names and all of that, and how old, and they'll come up with some catchy little thing and draw some pictures, and we get so much gratitude out of that.
How wonderful is it
Yeah.
to start building into our kids respect for the people who
Yep.
made it possible for them to be in the senior center?
We just started another program. It's a chess club for kids. Let me tell you, these kids are brilliant. They're young, little kids. I mean, they're like 10, and they are brilliant. They play chess like,
Seniors must love the kids.
yeah.
I remember when dementia took my mom. Sometimes I was lucky, she always remembered me, but even my darling bride and my daughters, sometimes she
Yeah.
would. But when my 3-year-old grandson showed up,
Won't forget that.
boy, it was like the lights came on.
Yeah, sure.
Now, up at Countryside, it was funny because we gave her pictures of Chase, my grandson. And we had to keep replenishing them because the other seniors would take them.
Oh.
There must have been six young ladies
Yeah,
there. Who was
how
it?
sweet.
That's my grandson.
How sweet.
And you just sat there and it just hit you
Yeah.
that this little 3-year-old somehow got the synapses firing,
Yeah.
that even in the middle of this heavy dementia, she would remember who
Oh,
he
it's
was.
so true.
So getting them down there,
Yeah.
not only I think is great for the seniors, but teaching the kids that
Oh,
there's
absolutely.
respect.
Absolutely. You got to start with them.
So now if I wanted to go down for one of these events, so what is it, what's next?
That's our newsletter, yeah. So like our
what do
next
I
event,
have to do to be eligible to go down
You
and
just have
eat
to-
turkey?
Well, so you have to come in and get a ticket. So
Okay.
You have to come in and buy the ticket, and you got to get on the list. And then when I say buy, everything's really a donation. We charge money just to help pay the costs. So our next thing will be our poinsettia breakfast, which is, I believe, December 5th. We have a breakfast every first Wednesday of the month. So this is our big poinsettia breakfast, and everyone that comes will get a poinsettia, and we're going to have a special breakfast. So we'll have a really nice meal for them as well. I think we already have 70 people signed up for it. Yeah. But you just...
What happens if I want to come and I can't afford it?
No, you just come. You just come. They're
That's Milford.
donations.
But at the end of the day,
absolutely.
We ran
It's
through
not
that,
about the money.
the Washington trip for the 8th graders.
Yeah.
We never turn
No,
away a
I
kid
don't
who...
turn anybody down. And the capacity for the room was like 150, but wasn't 20 other people wanted to come. I'm going to say no. So we made room.
No turkey for
We
you.
made
I don't
room,
love you.
And I always say, we'll put you on the waiting list, but
Yeah, you
because
waited long enough.
I always have this thing, don't say no. When you walk in the senior center, I don't want to hear anybody say no.
But that kind of attitude, that kind of performance is why you can come and say, I need 75 grand, not budgeted, go find it.
Yeah,
And yes, we're going to growl.
right.
You
I
know,
got a lot of flack for that.
we got to sit there and say, blah, blah, we're broke, we're destitute.
It was
At the end of the
really good
day,
money spent.
but at the end of the day, Sue, we found the money.
Yeah.
When the cement broke or whatever, we
Yep,
found the money.
Exactly. Some
Yeah.
things you have to do. And we really appreciated that fitness facility because we did have a vision that was going to work. But I had no idea it was going to be this successful. And I have to give credit where credit's due. We have a phenomenal team put together up there. Rebecca Trudeau is incredible. She gets everybody motivated. She's in charge of the classes. She'll make out the schedule for the trainers. She keeps everything running, and it's just there's so much respect up there for all the instructors. All the instructors I have, everybody's certified, everybody's licensed, everybody's insured. It's just really working.
Now, the building itself, good shape?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it needs maintenance
Well,
like
they all need
everything else,
maintenance.
right? I think the next thing we're going to look for is new flooring. The big room down back, it has a cork floor, and now we're going on 15 years, I think. Yeah, we opened in 2004. So the cork floor has not worn well. So we would like to replace that with hardwood, because that'll last forever. And the carpets that we have, they're worn, they're stained, they don't,
15 years of having how many people walk
Yeah,
across it?
exactly.
And they already wore out?
yeah, you know, so it's time. But I think it's important that you do keep the maintenance up, or else you will end up with
Well, you know,
a
again,
bigger expense.
as long as it's on our capital plan,
Right.
you know, that way we can project out if you need a new floor in 2 years, 5 years, you know, that way we plan for it. And with the numbers you're saying, I think I'd be hard pressed if I said, is it really worth doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
Now, how about in general, the building is secure?
yes, yes,
Because, you know, we've been worried. We read about ice storms wiping out all the power.
yes.
Now, we've been lucky. I mean, what happens to the seniors when the ice storms shut Milford down?
Well, we don't really know. We work on it. We do have a list. We've reached out in our newsletter and we've asked, do you live alone? Because it's a big concern of ours. If you're home alone and the lights go out, what are you going to do? So we've reached out and we've got a list. I think there might be 25 folks right now on the list that are truly alone. And I'm sure there are many, many, many more.
So if the power went out to 20, a couple dozen or more people,
Right.
and it's out for days,
Yeah.
where do they go?
Well, I don't know. They can't, unless the high school opens up as a shelter, they will go there, because I think that is the emergency.
Wait a minute, didn't we spend all the money putting a generator in there so that we could feed people in emergencies?
Yes. But I think that's going to be a big catastrophe. That's going to have to, and that would be, that's not just for seniors, that's town-wide. So if people are out of power
That's
and
an
heat.
interesting
and,
question.
I mean, it is. It's something that we struggle with. So last year, we reached out to everybody that was on our list. And if they didn't answer the phone, you know, that's another concern. Why didn't they answer the phone? So we did send the police up to do well checks on them. But my question was, because you and I talked about it before, you know, we did have a power outage, and I'm sitting in my house by myself, and it was night, and, you know, I'm fine at home, but I'm thinking if I was
Yeah, but
85 years
you're a
old,
mobile,
how would I
you're a
really
mobile senior.
feel?
You can get in your
Exactly.
car and drive somewhere
Right.
if there's a problem. I worry about people like my mom,
Right,
who never drove.
no,
If she was home alone,
it's,
3 days without power,
yeah,
Would
very
be scary.
concerning, very concerning.
I mean, that ought to be a question we ask Chief Tui Rev 2.
Yeah, well, we've met with both chiefs, Chief Tui, Chief O'Laughlin. We've met with a lot of town officials to try to come up with a really good plan. Right now, our plan, I'm not convinced we have a really good plan in place, but it's something that we're going to keep working on and we're going to keep thinking about, because I do have concern. What about if we do have a power outage, even if it's not a few days, even if it's just one day? The house starts getting really cold when you lose your heat. You know, where are we going to put them? The high school's not going to open up because
Yeah, but
you lost power for 8 hours.
I guess what I'm concerned about, number one, you know, you got Chief Tom
Yeah.
and Chief Bill. Both of them have a love for Milford and their people.
Right.
That we don't have to worry about
No,
their
we don't have-
commitment or their
right,
love of the
right.
people. But putting it to them saying, okay, if power went down for a day,
Right.
and Sue has a triage unit where
Right.
people start calling the 25, you know, the 30, whatever. And a couple dozen say, Sue, I'm
Yeah.
scared, I'm stuck.
Right.
Where do we bring them?
Well, you can't bring them to me because I don't have a generator. So I'm out of power as well.
But you have a kitchen that could feed them.
I do have a kitchen.
So
I
for the
need a
lack of a generator,
Right.
now we put a mega generator up in the high school. Years ago, when we found out that the generator in the high school was set up for emergency lights only, to get people out of the high school, we said, okay, out to go where?
Exactly.
And the school committee came back and said, we need mega dollars to put a real generator. So the lights are on, the heat's on, we're cooking food. If they're not the primary for small, I mean, I understand if the town of Milford shuts down, a lot of us are going to the high school.
Right.
But if the town isn't shutting down,
Right.
you know, it's that borderline of somebody's grandma
Right.
and 20 or 30 of her closest friends need help. Again, food for Uncle Rick. You know, Dr. Villani,
No,
what are we doing?
no,
Talk to the
it's true.
selectmen.
It's very true.
And that's part of a town-wide plan, like the SWAT team,
Right.
like the nurses.
Right.
Can we afford it? Oh, of course not. Can we afford not to do it? And when you really get in front of town meeting,
I hope we never need it.
well,
You know, I mean, that's the whole
look,
thing.
I hope we never
We don't
need.
want to need to use any of those
I hope
things.
TUI Rev 2
Yeah.
is bored to death
Yeah.
every day of the year. That means there's no medical emergencies and
Right.
no fires. Or Tom, you know,
Right.
our police
Never
department,
needs to call
hope
on
we
that.
never have any work for them to
Exactly.
do. But that's like hoping for world peace.
Well,
You know, you have to deal with what happens when we need them. That'd be interesting to pose a question, to
Right.
say, okay, is it, I know I'm going to cry when you come before me saying it's too much
I
money
need
for
a
a generator,
generator.
but is it something as trivial as a generator, regardless of what it costs, to ensure that the 2-3 dozen seniors
Exactly. That's exactly
are taken
right.
care of?
That's exactly the issue.
And, you know, the
I can't put
decades I've been in
everybody up,
front of
but I
town
could
meeting,
put some seniors up that are struggling.
I've never seen town meeting turn their back on our kids or our seniors.
Seniors, right?
You know, if it's something we really need, like the $75,000 for an aerobic center, we found it.
Yeah. But you've got to remember, too, I don't come there very often.
Well, that-
I only come if it's, I don't have my hand out all the time.
Well, I also don't encourage people to spend money that's not needed.
Right.
So, you know, you've got me really wondering, you know, is this generator would be nice to have,
Yes.
or is it we should have it?
Well,
Because who else? Now, if they tell me when there's 30 or 40, we'll open up the high school,
no,
okay. If that's the plan,
that's not the plan. I don't think it is.
if that's the
I
plan,
think the high
then we're
school
okay.
is like, you know, the big plan. I
Yeah.
don't think it's the small.
No, but that's a legitimate question,
Yeah.
because 20 or 30 people, of Milford people, is not small to me.
No, especially seniors.
Yeah. But no
They're our
matter
most
what,
vulnerable population. We have to take care
you
of them.
know, but even if it was, if you knew that there were some younger people with small children
Right.
who needed help.
Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't
Okay.
shut the door to anybody.
What are you going to say? I'm sorry.
You're not old enough
You're
to
only
come
30
in
years
here.
old.
No,
Get
no.
out. Go out in
No.
the snow.
Our doors are open to anybody. So
Yeah.
it's not, you know, even though we're the senior center, like I said before, we don't turn anyone
But at the
away.
end of the day, we're the police department, we're the fire department, we're the school. Wait a minute, it's Milford starts that.
Right,
So yeah, you're the senior center, but you're Milford
right.
first.
Exactly.
You know, when you think of the volunteers, I mean, a volunteer, I can't imagine. We'd like you to volunteer and make food for 170 people.
I know.
Holy moly.
And enjoy doing it.
I don't know how they enjoy it. God bless them.
Yeah.
They must enjoy watching the people eat and
Well,
know,
Al, I
socialize.
have over 100 volunteers.
really.
Yes.
How
I
cool.
could not run without my volunteers. They run my desk, they run everything. They run everything. And when I say run, I mean they take over and it's theirs. So we have volunteers in every capacity. We deliver over 100 meals through Meals on Wheels, but that's Tri-Valley that does that for us. But those are all volunteers that are, you know, packaging all those meals
Now,
up
what's
for them.
Meal on Wheels?
That's if you want a meal delivered to your home
Because you can't get out.
because you can't get out or whatever. If you just need a meal, You call up and you call Tri-Valley, and you set it up with them, and then you get a hot meal every day.
So, again, I start thinking medical needs,
Mm-hmm.
social needs.
Yeah.
And when we were younger, the kids provided the social network.
Yeah.
Because every weekend you're on the soccer field, or the football field, or the baseball
Right.
field. And you're around all the parents who are saying, is my teenager the only one that acts this way?
Well, there's a lot of grandparents at that soccer field too, so.
So, now the grandparents who don't have their families
Right.
around, the soccer field now seems to be the senior center.
It
where
is.
where they can go down
Absolutely. Yeah.
and just sit for an hour, play
Every
bingo.
morning we have free bread because Big Y gives us their day-old bread. And we also get a donation from Roach Brothers. So every day we have all this bread coming in, and we have, I'm gonna say at least 20 people every single day coming for their free loaf of bread. But it's more than just a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
They sit, they have their coffee, they solve all the world's problems. They get there early. They get there very early in the morning, and they stay till maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock. That's where they go.
Yeah.
You take that away from them, where are they going to go? I mean, they wake up, they do what they have to do,
But it
and
gives
they
them
go to the
purpose.
senior center.
They have something.
Because they have to get their bread, but more importantly, they have to see their friends, and
Yeah.
they have to have their conversation. And when they don't show up, we call them up, say, where are you? Is everything okay?
That's probably worth more than anything, is
Exactly.
just having somebody call and say, are you okay?
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Well, as always, when you peel back the onion we call Milford, the amount of layers, the amount of people who volunteer and help us, I'm always taken aback by how much Milford people do for each other, and especially this case. Because again, when I think of the people who go down to the senior center, we have a studio here, we have a school system here, we have all these wonderful facilities and services because they built Milford. If you're getting to my age or a little more, then get down there or call and get on the What's Next newsletter
that's right.
and learn what's available for you. There's so much. And if you can help, get down there and help with the seniors. To our 6 loyal viewers, thank you. To the 100 volunteers plus at the Senior Center, special thank you. And as always, to our 6 loyal viewers, may God bless, and may tomorrow be a better night than tonight. Good night.
Not too long since I've been home.